Good evening, and welcome to Jerusalem Eyewitness News. I'm Rachel Stone. Our top story tonight: Jesus of Nazareth has been arrested by the High Council on charges of claiming he is God. The arrest came shortly before midnight in the Garden of Gethsemane, where soldiers from the temple found Jesus with his closest friends. A temple spokesman says they believe Jesus might have been plotting with those friends in the garden. But a source close to Jesus says they were only praying. Jesus is standing trial before the high priest at this hour. And we'll have more as the story develops. Now, here's a check of the weather with Mary Storm. Mary?
Hey Rachel, we've got a pretty good, nice forecast for this coming weekend. But before I get to that, did you say that Jesus of Nazareth was arrested?
That's right.
For what?
We're still waiting to confirm that, but it seems the High Council is charging him with pretending to be God.
Pretending? That's crazy.
I know.
He doesn't have to pretend. He is God. I've seen the miracles myself.
You mean you're a believer too?
Well, sure. Who wouldn't be?
Well, according to the sources down at the temple, there is a large crowd of people turning against him.
Well, that just doesn't sound right to me. He's healed the sick and the blind and the crippled. Shoot, he even raised the dead. Why in the world would anyone want to arrest Jesus unless...
Unless what, Mary?
No, that's too crazy, even for me.
What
if getting arrested is the plan? What if Jesus wants to be put on trial?
Why would he do that?
He's God's son, Rachel. If he let those men arrest him, I know he has a reason.
Mary, can we get the forecast, please?
The forecast? Sure. It's going to be a nice sunny weekend all the way till Sunday. But if you ask me, something big is coming. It's not on the radar, but I have a feeling we're in for an earth-shaking event this weekend. Back to you, Rachel.
Oh, Grandma, how can you stand this every single night?
Stand what?
The news, it's all bad stuff. Somebody's going to war, somebody's going to jail. There's a tornado here, a hurricane there, and bad people everywhere. Wouldn't you rather watch SpongeBob?
Oh, Emma, I know the news isn't always happy, but every time I watch the news, I just think about how grateful I am.
For what? The commercial breaks?
Oh, no, Emma. When I see all the bad things happening in the world, I just remember what Jesus did for me, and that makes me grateful.
Then Jesus went with the disciples to a place called Gethsemane. He said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee along with him. He began to be sad and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is very sad. I feel close to death. Stay here, keep watch with me." He went a little further, then he fell to his face to the ground. He prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me, but let what you want to be done, not what I want." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for an hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Jesus went away a second time. He prayed, "My Father, is it possible for this cup to be taken away? But if I must drink it, may what you want be done." Then he came back. Again he found them sleeping. They couldn't keep their eyes open. So he left them and went away once more. For the 3rd time he prayed the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples. He said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to sinners. Get up, let us go. Here comes the one who is handing me over to them." While Jesus was still speaking, Judas arrived. He was one of the 12 disciples. A large crowd was with him. They were carrying swords and clubs. The chief priests and the elders of the people had sent them. Judas, who was going to hand Jesus over, had arranged a signal with them. "The one I kiss is the man," he said. "Arrest him." So Judas went to Jesus at once. He said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and then he kissed him. Jesus replied, "Friend, do what you came to do." Then the man stepped forward. They grabbed Jesus and arrested him. At the moment, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword. He pulled it out and struck the slave of the high priest with it. He cut off the slave's ear. "Put your sword back on its place." Jesus said to him, "All who use the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would have an army or send an army of more than 10,000 angels right away. But then how would the scriptures come true? They said it must happen in this way." At that time, Jesus spoke to the crowd. "Am I leading a band of armed men against you?" he asked. "Do you have to come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courtyard teaching, and you didn't arrest me, but all this has happened so that the words of the prophets could come true." Then all the disciples left him and ran away. Matthew 26:36-56.
Jesus didn't have to come to earth. He chose to come. He knew it was the only way to save us from our sin. Jesus came and did his Father's work so that he could be our Savior.